There's a part of us that believes there's something that needs to be defended here. And here's how I know. Because if I walk down the street and some random person who I have no relationship with looks at me and says, "You're a terrible father," it doesn't have the same sting as if somebody who I know, who has witnessed me as a father, says that to me. You ever wonder why you feel defensive sometimes? You know, that gut instinct that comes up when somebody says something that just makes you start to boil. Maybe it was something indirect, something inadvertent that just triggered something in you. Or maybe it was somebody making a direct accusation of you that sparked a feeling, sparked an emotion, made you feel like you wanted to punch someone or run the other way. That's a flight response, right? That's a fight or flight response that occurs because something in us is getting rocked. So why? Why do we feel defensive? Why do we get triggered by things? Well, to me, it's actually very simple. I feel defensive when I believe that there's something I need to defend. Now, bear with me for a second. I know that that's a very simple answer to maybe a complicated seeming question, but my belief is that if I think that there's something that is incomplete about me, something that's inadequate, a place where I fall short, a shortcoming of mine, then I naturally have an insecurity. I don't want to be exposed about that thing. If I'm body conscious, let's say I'm concerned about my weight, and somebody makes a comment, "Hey, Jeddy, looks like you put on a few pounds." Feels really risky. I feel very exposed when somebody says something like that about me because I'm already believing that I need to address that issue within myself. And because I haven't addressed that issue yet, it feels like something I want to put space around. I want to redirect attention the other way, or I want to fight back to regain that ground that feels very vulnerable to me. So I only defend things that I feel like I need to, that I believe I'm inadequate in some capacity. So really this comes down to insecurities. This comes down to where I don't feel like I'm crushing it in my life. It could be around my body image. It could be around my financial health and well-being. It could be around my relationship. It could be around commitment. It could be about anything. But I think the common root, the common denominator of any time someone feels defensive or triggered is that there's a part of us that believes there's some truth. There's a part of us that believes there's something that needs to be defended here. And here's how I know. Because if I walk down the street and some random person who I have no relationship with looks at me and says, "You're a terrible father," it doesn't have the same sting as if somebody who I know, who has witnessed me as a father, says that to me. If it's just some person who randomly comes up to me who has no authority, I've given no authority to, and I also feel very confident about the way I'm showing up as a dad, then I might not even hear that person. I might just ignore it as noise. But if it's somebody who knows me well, somebody who has seen me in my fathering role, somebody who has a little bit of intel, right? Like some intel, some behind the scenes footage of how I'm showing up, and pair that with, I don't feel like I've been a good dad lately. I've been a little bit short-tempered. I've been really busy at work. I haven't been showing up and making as much time for my children. If all of those factors are combined, then somebody making a comment, whether intentional or not, to hurt my feelings or to get my attention, it might put that defensiveness into me. It might make me feel triggered or uneasy. And I know that at the root of it, it's because there's a part of me that's paying attention. It's a part of me that has a belief that I need to protect this part of myself because it's vulnerable right now. It's not solid. I'm not nailing it the way that I want to in this area of my life. So in my opinion, defensiveness is something that actually gives me some responsibility about it when I look at it through this lens, which I'm all about doing. I don't like victimhood and looking at things as the problems, because if I see myself as the solution, then it puts command back into my court. If I see it as something that I'm detached from or a victim to that I don't have any control over, then there's nothing I can do about it. So I love looking at defensiveness as something that I can do something about. If I'm feeling defensive when my wife comes in and says, "Hey, you're looking like you put on a couple of extra pounds," why do I feel defensive? Let me ask myself, let me get curious. Why did that comment just sting? Well, because I know I've been dipping into the ice cream a little bit extra lately. I know that I've been skipping some early morning workouts. I know I haven't been taking care of myself to my standard. And my wife, she was just the vehicle of that message being mirrored back to me. It's not about her. What do I get to do? You know what? I'm going to put the ice cream in the can, and I'm going to get to make sure I get to the gym every day this week. That's where I get to be empowered all over again. And I don't take my defensiveness or my triggered state and project it onto somebody else. because that just initiates somebody else's fight or flight response. And then before we know it, we're squaring up with people that we love. And there's no reason for us to get defensive into that place. Yes, there's a responsibility of somebody else to be mindful of what they say and how they say it and the tone they say it in, but we're not talking about everybody else right now. I'm talking about myself. My own choice, my own ability to get triggered or not, to be defensive or to not be defensive. And it all comes back to, is there something that I feel like I need to defend? If not, great. That means that I'm taking care of that area of my life and the rest is just noise. I can say, bye haters. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I don't believe you. But if it reveals something and there is a tenderness there, let me get curious. What am I not doing to ensure that I feel confident about the way I'm showing up in this part of my life? That to me is the remedy for defensiveness. That's how I can take responsibility for my own triggers and take that authority and power and control away from everyone and everything else outside of me. So I hope this message lands. I hope it hits you right where it needs to. Make sure you tune in next week for another Monday morning meditation, and I'll see you then.